Welcome to tonight's Keynote Address. I'm Doug Linkart, the President of the National Civic League. We hope you've enjoyed the finalist presentations and workshops so far. Tonight, we will be presenting the All-America City Hall of Fame Award, as well as the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Health Equity Award, before hearing from our keynote speaker, Mayor Lori Lightfoot. I'd like to invite the city manager from the city of Roanoke, Virginia, Bob Cowell, to present the 2021 Hall of Fame Award. Roanoke was the very first Hall of Fame inductee, and I might mention an 8-time All-America City, and Bob was the reviewer for this year's class. Bob, take it away.
Thanks, Doug. The National Civic League created the Hall of Fame Award to celebrate the ongoing work of past All-America cities. The award recognizes an outstanding civic engagement initiative in a community since winning the All-America City Award. The community-wide initiatives are judged based on the components of the League's civic infrastructure measurement tool, the Civic Index. Projects must demonstrate a shared vision, evidence of civic engagement, inclusiveness and equity, collaboration, innovation, and must demonstrate impact on the community. This year, the League is inducting 2 communities into the Hall of Fame. The first inductee is Acworth, Georgia. Acworth, Georgia originally won the All-America City Award in 2010 and is being recognized for its inclusive and equitable redevelopment of the Parkside District. I'd now like to welcome Mayor Tommy Alligood to accept Acworth's award and speak briefly about the winning project.
Well, I'm Mayor Tommy Alligood. It is such an honor tonight to be presented this special award. This by far is probably the most special award recognition that our community has ever received. Being inducted into the All-America City, this Hall of Fame is just so meaningful to us. And I want to take just an opportunity to be able to allow some of our friends and leaders in our community to tell you what a great choice you made and how much we appreciate and acknowledge this very, very special award. I'm Mayor Tommy Alligood, and on behalf of our All-America City team here in Acworth, Georgia, we want to thank you, National Civic League, for the honor and the recognition to be inducted into the All-America City Hall of Fame. In 2010, we traveled to Kansas City. We presented and told your National Civic League judges about 3 life-changing programs that we had created for the young people in our community. That year, we were named the All-America City. You see, those life-changing programs were launched right here at Roberts School, and they're still here today. In fact, they're thriving in such a special way. Since 2010, we've continued to expand those programs, and that we are so proud to say have changed the direction for hundreds of young people in our community. The All-America City recognition that we received from you set us on a trajectory that has created a culture of inclusiveness. And today, that inclusiveness is a very important part of our quality of life. I'd like to share with you some stories from some of our friends. Stories about how the National Civic League recognition of 3 life-changing programs in 2010 has inspired many more life-changing programs and initiatives in our community. Our All-America City Hall of Fame story, as you will hear, is a story about friends who love and care about every part and everyone in our community.
Hi, I'm Angie Luna, the Director of Power and Public Works for the City of Acworth. We're here at the Roberts School, and over the last 10 years, the City of Acworth has continued to focus our efforts toward infrastructure improvement. Community Development Block Grant funding was used to renovate Roberts School, the Rosenwald School, and to develop the trail system at Logan Farm Park, which ties the Parkside District together and ensures the preservation of historic beauty and green space. SPLOST and development bond funding enabled the city to realign roads, install needed utility infrastructure, and become prepared for all the development that has happened and will continue to happen in the Parkside District. Through thoughtful planning, the infrastructure improvements in the area will encourage growth and enhance quality of life for decades to come.
Hi, I have the distinct pleasure of talking about Doyle Hill Park. Doyle Hill is my grandfather and the first black alderman in the city of Acworth. This park symbolizes so much The sculpture that's in the middle of the park, this symbolizes the power, the strength of our community, of our Black community, and everything that Dole Hill stood for. The park also offers some cool interactive photos and history of all our Black community around Ackworth, using the QR scanner to pull up photos and see how Ackworth and how it was back then and the growth that it is now. It just invites anybody for a welcoming environment and gives you an insight on the rich Black history that Ackworth has. It's a wonderful feeling to be able to come to the park and enjoy it with my family and to see others enjoy kind of what Dole Hill stood for.
Hey, I'm Kathy Green. I'm the Executive Director of the Art House here. The Art House is the home of the Ackworth Arts Alliance. We're located on Cherokee and Taylor Streets in a historic home that was renovated by the city in late 2017. This home was special because it was the original home and residence of the first African American business owner in the city of Ackworth. A shoe repairman had his business here in this house. The Art House is a home for about 65 member artists who exhibit their work here regularly, and we also have rotating exhibits that last about 2 months, so we have about 6 of those a year, and the community continues to come in and be amazed by what we have here. We aren't like a museum where you have to pay to come in and visit. We are free and open to the public, and a lot of people are just thrilled by that because they love art and they want it in their life, and they haven't had a place to come locally to be able to do that for a little while.
Welcome everybody to Ackworth. I'm Mike Turner with the local Save Ackworth History Foundation, and we're here today. We're right in the heart of beautiful downtown Ackworth in the Ackworth Depot History Center. A few years ago, we started out trying to save the old Ackworth Depot to have it as a history center. It had been moved off the railroad in 1970, and that didn't work out for us. But we still had in mind trying to have a history center. And so teaming with the city to build this beautiful building here, it all just fell into place. And now we think we have something that represents the history of this city in a real great way. I mean, this is a small building, but it packs a lot of information. So I think if you come to Ackworth, this is a must see. So come on by and check it out. Thank you.
My name is James Albright, and I serve as the city's Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Resources. I wanted to talk to you about a special project in the Ackworth Community Center. It's nearly 2 years old, but what we're most proud of with this facility is that we're able to offer inclusive programming for all ages and all walks of life at this facility. Another thing that we're really proud of is over the last year, in a season of social unrest, we were able to have some crucial conversations in our community. A community conversation where we were able to bring in people from our community, citizens, business leaders, church leaders, to engage with our city leadership and have conversations that needed to be had. Some of them were tough conversations, but ultimately they were productive conversations, and we're proud that this facility was able to host those events.
So now you know the rest of our All-America City Hall of Fame story. We are so grateful and proud. I'll never forget standing on that stage in Kansas City in 2010. One of your judges told us when we finished our presentation that we were a city with a heart. You see, I believe she could actually feel how much we loved and cared about everyone in our community. As the mayor for the city of Ackworth, Georgia, you made a great Hall of Fame choice. Thank you, National Civic League, for the honor and the recognition to be inducted into the All-America City Hall of Fame. May God bless you.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Mayor, and congratulations, Ackworth, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. Very well done. I'd now like to recognize the second 2021 Hall of Fame inductee, Decatur, Georgia. Decatur, Georgia, a 2018 All-America City, is being recognized for Destination 2030, a community-driven strategic plan process. Mayor Patty Garrett is here to accept Decatur's award and tell us a little about the winning project. Mayor?
Thank you. I really am so honored to represent the city of Decatur in accepting this Hall of Fame All-America Cities Award. Really an honor to accept this award. And I want to take a few minutes to share with you about the project that we submitted. Destination 2030 is our community-driven strategic planning process that will provide a roadmap for our city as we move forward in our 2030 strategic plan. So it's only fitting that an outline of the city's borders would be our emblem and would show us what we want to do as part of our strategic planning process. So I'm going to show you and share a few slides of some of the things that we're doing as a part of this process. In January of 2020, we kicked off our Destination 2020 with a standing room crowd of over 600 people. And we included an interactive music and dance performance with Capoeira Macalau Decatur, one of our immigrant-owned businesses. And as you can see in the photo, they set the mood for celebration and interaction in a fun and lively way. And over 800 people registered to commit 8 hours of their own time in working together towards developing our strategic plan. So we formed roundtables. We had 71 roundtable groups, and these groups continued to meet together over the next few months to explore the visions for Decatur's future. And as you can see, we had a lot of lively, engaged conversations. And then the pandemic hit. And this is what our lives began to look like. The pandemic forced a pause and a change to the ways that we were able to solicit input. The original roundtables helped us identify key areas of concern that could be organized under 6 broad and interconnected categories: housing and community inclusivity, racial equity, transportation and mobility, economic development, and civic trust. And these are the areas that were represented in the graphic I showed at the beginning. To better understand these areas, several strategies were implemented that we call the Decatur 202s. And these focus on, as you can see, a series of online communications and discussions. Part of these focused online discussions included a presentation by local and national experts with breakout conversations to explore issues in detail. In this slide, you can see that we had a public forum for equity and racial justice. We had some amazing, interactive, and really heartfelt conversations as a part of this forum. In addition, we use something called social pinpoint online so that people could have discussions in each of these areas, as you see, for transportation, civic trust, climate change, housing, economic development, and equity and racial justice. Again, taking input from the community in a creative and different way that we had to figure out how to do this during a pandemic where we couldn't meet in person and gather input. We also reached out to our partners, and one of our primary partners, and really the Better Together Community Action Plan, is what we received the 2018 All-America City Award for. And as a part of that action plan, we developed and appointed a Better Together Advisory Board. And the Better Together Advisory Board has been one of our organizations that has given us very important input, especially looking at racial equity and inclusion as a part of our strategic plan. And I wanted to use this particular slide because Better Together several years ago put together an award that welcomes actually shows welcoming businesses and honors those welcoming businesses in the city of Decatur. And we take applications, they're reviewed by the Better Together board, and businesses are honored for what they do to welcome everyone in their business. And this year, this is one of the award winners. You can see that we provide a welcoming business welcome mat for their business. And this year, for the first time, we included the pandemic guidelines as part of the evaluation process. We wanted to make sure that the businesses that were welcoming were also following our city mask mandate, social distancing in their places of business, and making sure that customers felt not only welcomed, but safe when they came to their business. In closing, I want to just bring back this symbol of what we really are trying to accomplish with our strategic planning process. In 2030, in Destination 2030, the lens of equity and racial justice will be infused into the plan. And you can see that it really wraps around every part of our strategic planning process. Decisions also have to include impacts on climate change. And we also recognize that civic trust, housing, transportation, and economic development are also wrapped in these two important areas, and they also have intersections. So we are currently working on a preliminary draft of our strategic plan. We continue to take community input as we prioritize strategies and action steps for our 2030 roadmap. And it is an honor for us to be recognized for the creative way that we have entered into and really been able to pivot our strategic planning process and take important community input from all sectors of the community. So again, on behalf of the City of Decatur, I am honored to accept the All-America Hall of Fame Award.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We appreciate you sharing so much and congratulations again. My name is Key Hummel. I'm the Director of Civic Engagement at the National Civic League. And it is my privilege and honor to announce the winner of this year's Robert Johnson Foundation National Civic Award for Health Equity. All across the country and undoubtedly in each of your communities, there are unknown individuals and women and men who tirelessly work to create a community where factors race, income, identity, sexual orientation, education, geography don't determine who has the opportunity to be healthy and who gets left behind. These individuals often work behind the scenes. In partnership with Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, we shine a light on these inspiring men and women. So this evening, it is my distinct privilege to announce the winner of the 6th Annual Robert Wood Johnson Foundation National Civic Award for Health Equity. The award recognizes those who work to promote health equity through resident engagement and systemic change efforts. This year's winner was selected a jury of experts and practitioners around the country. I am proud to announce that the winner of this year's WJF NCL Award for Health Equity is Melissa Robinson, the Health Care Coalition. Melissa Robinson has led exemplary service in both her community, Kansas City, Missouri, as well as the bigger field of equity through her work of Black Health Care Coalition. Serving executive director, she improved health literacy information pertaining to infant mortality to parents, mental health awareness, improving outreach, and addressing COVID-19. Robin's work addressing healthcare disparities across institutions has been doing this through various efforts, including the National Black Health Week, which she started in 2015, and at the University of Kansas Alzheimer's Disease, where she's working to break down barriers for African Americans they face in care. An immense thank you to Melissa Robinson for important work and how to elevate families in our communities by changing institutions, supporting young families, and working to address very serious health disparities. More than deserve of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Health Equity Award. And I am pleased to introduce you, Melissa. Yes.
Thank you so very much. It's such an honor to be with you all on this evening, and thank you to you all for selecting me for this distinguished honor. Again, my name is Melissa Robinson. I'm the president and executive director of the Black Healthcare Coalition. We're a 30-year-old nonprofit organization here in Kansas City, Missouri, where we are missioned to eliminate health disparities. And we do that through 3 ways: access to care, advocacy, and health promotion activities. We know that it's very important for individuals to know their numbers. We go out into the community and we provide biometric screening for thousands and thousands of uninsured individuals, but not just to know your numbers, but to make sure you have a medical home. And we work with community health workers and our federally qualified health centers to make sure that individuals who are coming through our doors and are in the community have a medical home. On our second leg of the stool, after looking at access to care, we really focus on advocacy, and not the traditional way of looking at advocacy, but we work with residents in knocking on doors and talking to them about what their dreams and aspirations are. And in 10 years, what does health equity look like to them? And so when we develop our advocacy agenda, it's not members of our coalition that get around a room and talk about what's happening at the state house or talking about what's happening in federal government. We're talking about the very real things that are happening in the homes of the individuals that we're wanting to impact. And by empowering them and giving them access to resources and data, they come up with the things that they want to see achieved. And so while we, work heavily in working with local elected officials and officials up and down the spectrum, their advocacy agenda looks like making sure that young people have access to 529 plans, because they found that if you know that someone is saving for you, whether it's $100 or $100,000, kids are 7 times more likely to go to college. And so those are the things that residents are saying that they want to see change. And so our advocacy agenda is wrapped and rooted in the change that people want to see at the very ground level, and knowing that people that are closest to the pain are really closest to the promise and closest to the solutions that we're all seeking. And now to our third leg of the stool is health promotion. And I would like to take the remainder of my time with you today to talk about National Black Health Week, because it is an extraordinary opportunity that we all should be connected to. It was started in 1915 by Booker T. Washington in Tuskegee. And he realized and recognized the very inequities that many of us are coming to terms with because of a pandemic. But from a historical perspective, these disparities and these inequities have always existed. And so it is our aim to make sure that nationwide we are recognizing National Black Health Week so that we can have a national agenda to eliminate health inequities within our community. So for 2021, I want to tell you a little bit about what we did with National Black Health Week. We always start out with lay health workers. They come together, we share with them the data, and they pick the campaigns that they want to work on for National Black Health Week and bring people to the table. So one, we did a campaign around, is the science safe around the vaccinations? And we didn't say, no, the science is safe. We wanted to make sure people had agency to make their own decisions about their health care. And so our lay health leaders and our volunteers came together and put on that campaign the first week of April. Additionally, we did things like Mental Health Matters, spotlighting African-American mental health providers, breaking people up into these virtual breakout discussions and talking about things like social isolation and depression and parenting and all of those different important things. We continue our work with infant mortality. We did a community baby shower, and it's just a recruitment tool because we want to keep families for 7 years, making sure that they have full employment, making sure that they're homeowners, making sure that their children have a good start. And so we start with a basic community baby shower and inviting those families into the Black Healthcare Coalition community. And finally, for National Black Health Week, we focused on increasing African-American participation in clinical trials. And so we're working very, very hard to make sure that we're at the table and that we have best in class as it relates to the new treatments and innovation in medicine. And so with that, again, we're so excited to be able to serve the greater Kansas City community. We hope that each of you will join us in recognizing National Black Health Week, the first week of 2022. I am always available to help to provide any technical assistance or any support or just inspiration. But in closing, I just want you to know that remember, health equity is a lens for us to allocate resources. Our aim is parity. And so let's move beyond health equity and apply equity because we want to achieve parity. Good night, and God bless you all.
Melissa, you've really done some great work. Really enjoyed reading the application. We just put the link in the chat for National Black Health Week, and love the work that you're doing. So congratulations. You know, I just wanted to mention too that there was a lot of competition for these awards. We had some great nominees, and we really appreciate the All-America cities that are present tonight and other attendees for submitting nominations. We also used a committee in each case to review the applications. We don't do that as a staff committee of experts and people with experience around the country. So again, to all the awardees, congratulations. Now I want to introduce Brad Culp, who will introduce our keynote speaker for the evening. Brad is the current executive director of the Illinois Municipal League, former mayor of Carbondale, Illinois, and is also a member of the League's board of directors. And we wouldn't be where we are without Brad. So thank you so much, Brad, and floor is yours.
Thank you, Doug, and congratulations to all the winners and recipients and applicants tonight. It's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker this evening. Mayor Lori Lightfoot is the 56th mayor of Chicago. Since assuming office following her historic election 2 years ago, Mayor Lightfoot has undertaken an ambitious agenda of expanding opportunity and inclusive economic growth across all of Chicago's neighborhoods. Her early accomplishments included landmark ethics and good governance reforms, worker protection legislation, and closing a record $838 million budget gap. And if that wasn't enough, she also made key investments in education, public safety, and the financial stability of her community. Mayor Lightfoot also placed Chicago on the path to a $15 minimum wage. In response to the unprecedented COVID-19 crisis, Mayor Lightfoot has led a coordinated citywide response across government, business, and community organizations to effectively address its spread and impact, including the creation of a racial equity rapid response team, the COVID-19 recovery task force, among other actions. She has been a collaborative leader statewide, working closely with all other mayors on this important issue. Now, prior to her election, Mayor Lightfoot most recently served as senior equity partner in the litigation and conflict resolution group at the prestigious law firm of Mayer Brown. She also served as president of the Chicago Police Board and chair of the Police Accountability Task Force. And she had been an assistant United States attorney. She has had a very distinguished career in the legal community, to say the least. A native of Ohio, Mayor Lightfoot has been a resident of Chicago since 1986 and lives on the near northwest side with her wife, Amy Eshelman, and their daughter. And I'm pleased to present to you tonight Chicago's Mayor, Lori Lightfoot.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and it's my honor to be this year's keynote speaker for the All-America City Awards. Since 1949, the All-America City Awards have recognized and celebrated the best of the best in American civic innovation, shining a spotlight on their incredible work to help and heal communities across the country. This year's awards program's theme, Building Equitable and Resilient Communities, is not only a reminder of the power that comes from people from all walks of life coming together with a common goal of improving our society, but it is also in line with our ongoing work to recover from this pandemic by uplifting the communities it has impacted the most, which have been overwhelmingly those that are predominantly Black, brown, and low income. COVID-19 has tested us in unimaginable ways. And for communities that were already struggling before the pandemic, that feeling has been amplified. That's why it's never been more important to work together to solve the complex systemic issues our communities have and continue to face. In their own way, each of the 20 finalist cities, including Chicago's Northside neighbor, Evanston, Illinois, have taken this pandemic as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity it is to eradicate systemic inequity once and for all. And I want to congratulate each of them on their efforts to build equitable and resilient communities. These efforts include equity-based and inclusion-driven responses to the COVID-19 pandemic, community-wide efforts that respond to renewed waves of racism and calls for justice sparked by the murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many others, and the creation of community action plans to address climate change. Not only are these efforts critical to our ability to rise above this pandemic together, but they also prove why it is important for us to take initiative at the local level to solve the problems our communities face. Local municipalities have the pulse of their communities and therefore are the best equipped to handle their growing needs. But in order for that to happen, local leaders must be willing to face adversity head on, persevere, and fight until their residents have what they need in order to thrive. This is a challenge I am very familiar with as mayor of the city of Chicago. As COVID-19 hit our city, we knew we needed to move quickly in order to protect our most vulnerable residents and communities, who were most at risk of catching and succumbing to this disease, losing their jobs, their businesses, and their overall sense of socioeconomic stability and safety. That's why in April 2020, when we saw that Black Chicagoans accounted for 75% of the COVID-19 related deaths, despite making up only 29% of our city's populations, we responded and we created the Racial Equity Rapid Response Team, which has driven our equity-focused COVID-19 mitigation strategies across both Black and brown Chicago, laid the foundation for our equity-focused vaccine distribution plan, and in the process, save countless lives. That's why we created programs like the Small Business Resiliency Fund, an unprecedented effort to support our small businesses and keep their doors open even during the pandemic, ensuring that they and their employees would be able to stay afloat while adjusting to a new normal. That's $100 million that we put into this program, double any other large city. And that's why we've also launched initiatives like Protect Chicago Plus, a key facet of our equity-based vaccine distribution strategy that drives vaccine to residents and communities most impacted by this virus, while simultaneously introducing strategies that reduce vaccine hesitancy and increase vaccine accessibility. Here in Chicago, Programs and initiatives like these have allowed us to turn the tide of this pandemic and address long-standing issues like healthcare inequities, disinvestment, and more, giving our most vulnerable residents the shot at success and upward mobility they deserve. And as this year's All-American City Awards has proven, other cities have also stood up and are doing their part to engage in this necessary work as well. Once again, congratulations to this year's finalists. Thank you all for tuning in, and please, everyone, continue to be safe.
Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot. You're an inspiration to mayors and city leaders around the country, around the world. Really appreciate your leadership and the hard work that you're doing in Chicago to create equity and resilience. And Brad, thank you for your work on the state and statewide. I think you've got what, over 1,000 cities, 1,200 cities that you represent?
We have 1,296 cities, villages, and towns in Illinois.
All right. Well, thank you for your work, and thank you for introducing Mayor Lightfoot to us tonight. And thank you to all of our attendees for being with us today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the remaining presentations, and we have a roundtable in the afternoon, Festival of Ideas, and then of course the awards ceremony tomorrow evening. So look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow.